oh my God, I'm so busy. Why would I go and talk to all of the weird people when I don't know anybody? And well, wrong. So I went to over 150 networking events over the past 12 months, and during this time, I developed some really unhinged networking strategies that I'm more than excited to share with you. And yes, they work even if you're extremely introverted. One thing that I will say before is networking has completely changed my entire business and access to the people that I have right now. I couldn't even dream of having 12 months before, simply because I was always stuck in my own home, not connecting with anybody, and thinking like, oh my God, I'm so busy. Why would I go and talk to all of the weird people when I don't know anybody? I would make so much more money glued to my own laptop rather than going out and talking and connecting to so many people. And well, wrong. The opportunities that I got, the connections that I got, and the clients that I got, I can quite honestly say that I would never be able to get them if I didn't connect with them in person first. So the first very weird things that I do, and I only do it for a multi-day big conferences that I go to, but it's kind of like a rotating lunch strategy. So you know how you have a lunch included at a conference, and then they would typically set up something like a buffet style that you would go grab a plate, like fill out your plate, and then sit down at a random table with people that you have no idea who you're sitting down with, and you're just expected to talk while you're eating your lunch. So I did the math, and at the gathering, a 3-day marketing conference, if I were to only do that, I could only sit at 3 tables during lunch for the entire conference. And I paid way too much money to only sit down and connect with 3 tables. So what I did instead is I would grab a plate and I would only fill it out with, let's say, like a small portion of a salad. And then I would go and sit down at a table. If the conversation would flow with somebody at the table, I would go and come back for a proper meal, and then I would come back to the table. But if I were to sit down at the table and the conversation is just shit, or there is nobody that I can genuinely connect with, I would shove that salad into my body as quickly as possible, and then I would go grab another plate with something else, and I would go and sit down at another table. And so every single lunch that I had turned into 5, 6, 7 different courses, because I would drink multiple coffee cups after lunch as well and go and sit down at every single table. I would sit down with 7 in one single day. That allowed me to make more connections, to learn about different people. But out of 20 tables that I sat at during lunch, there was honestly maybe only 1 or 2 tables that I genuinely enjoyed having a really great conversation with. And I found them like closer to the end of my like continuous lunch rotation. And can you imagine if I would just sit down with the same table of people that I genuinely didn't connect with? And that would just be a complete waste of my time and energy. Second unhinged things that I do is coffee line networking. I typically drink maybe like 1 to 2 coffees in a day. When I go to networking events, girl, I can shove in me like 7 coffees like it's nobody's business, simply because I am talking to literally the entire line around me who's waiting to pick up their coffee. I paid, like, my thought process is, yeah, of course it's cringe. Of course I feel weird talking to all the people around me. But my thing is like, I paid so much money to be here, so probably did you. Don't you want to connect with somebody that you can genuinely enjoy conversation with, and maybe we can become clients of each other? Yes, I know. Genius. And so I would go grab coffee before the conference start. I would go grab coffee between every single session as well. And then the same goes at the bar line as well, where everybody attending conference would go for happy hour. You just go and you just talk to every single person around you. Okay, maybe that wouldn't work for every single introvert, but instead of just focusing on talking to every single person around you in the same room, focus on just finding 1 or 2 people that they look like somebody who you can have a conversation that you would enjoy. Another unhinged thing that I did is, if your conference has an app, I'm gonna sound so freaking weird. Oh my God. Hold on, just stay with me here. If your conference has an app, and if within the app you can see a list of attendees, go through that list of attendees and find those people on LinkedIn and on your Instagram. What I did, I know, like, very freaking weird, you guys. I give myself a full credit that I'm sounding like a creep here. So what I did is I went through the list of I think it was at least 500 people that were attending this conference, and I DM'd at least 100 people on Instagram saying that, hey, I'm attending the same conference. This is my outfit for tomorrow, because it was like multi-day thing. This is my outfit for tomorrow. This is what I'm wearing. If you will see me, come find me, come say hi. I would love to connect and learn more about you. Out of 100 people, I think 20 or 30 maybe replied back. The other 70, 80 just saw that I was way too weird, which is like fair. I think maybe like 10, 15 of them actually come and said hi to me, and like we had a really great chat in person. And then for people with whom I chatted but we haven't had chance connecting, after we had like a conference happy hour situation, I was sitting at a bar table with a bunch of other incredible women entrepreneurs, and then some women that I wanted to come and meet us. I just took a photo of a table, and without meeting them prior, just message, hey, I don't know if you're coming to the happy hour by yourself, but if you are, feel free to join us. We are sitting at this table. Would love to pull up a seat for you as well. Which is, again, very weird. And I think we had maybe around like 5 people actually coming and joining us, which was really great. And we ended up having a really, really great conversation with them. But I do recognize that it's very freaking weird. So like, if you don't want to do it, you're good. And then the last trick that I wanted to share, which actually will be super applicable to all the introverts, recharge by yourself. If I know, for example, I'm going on a trip and I'm gonna have back-to-back masterminds, networking events, founders dinners, I would actually eat breakfast by myself and drink coffee in silence, very often just in my hotel room without seeing anybody, just being by myself to connect with myself and collect my thoughts and just give myself a breather. And I always protect the first hour of my morning whenever I go to a conference, whenever I go to like a multi-day networking trips, because all other times can be reserved for me to connect with all the incredible women that I'm in the room with. The first hour is just for me. I can go out for a walk, drink coffee by myself, just like collect my thoughts, and then I would go and I would always eat properly before heading out, even if the breakfast is included. First of all, you never know what's actually gonna serve. And then second, well, I mean, you're just gonna have more food, which is, I mean, it's always great. And regardless if you're an introvert, extrovert, it doesn't matter. Make sure that you allocate a little bit of your time to just get grounded and come back to yourself, because networking is exhausting regardless of how social you are, regardless how good to talking to people you are. It is an energy draining activity. So you want to make sure that you're not gonna burn yourself out first day into a multi-day conference or a networking event simply because you are exhausted. And like, I get it, to be fair. Would love to see in the comments the most unhinged things that you had to do during any conference, mastermind dinners, networking events. Let's collect all of the weird things that we've done to connect with as many people as possible, all in one comment section. And don't forget to subscribe to this channel to see more videos about entrepreneurship, networking, and building your personal brand that sells.